Hi, you guys. When I looked into what I called Blondie and then I changed her name to Righteous Star, um, I had to it became the whole picture. So we have to go back and look at some of the other players. And I still have my lovely lady lumps, but they're actually on my head. So thank you for all your nice comments, but smoke and mirrors and all of that. Um, Not important given what we're dealing with. Trying to keep things light because you guys know this energy is very, very heavy and we're all doing our best to stay grounded and just stay connected because there's so much lies and theater and optics and so many things going on that it's really hard. I've lit my candle, I said my prayers, I have my quartz and my amethyst here underneath my phone. I really get myself grounded. That's why it took me so long to record today yet again. Because I really want to come from a place of grounded. I don't just want to come on here and be all like, da, 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 da. Okay. All right. So I opened up the energy to Blondie. I'll call her Blondie because it's kind of easier for you to follow, but I'm going to put both names in my glossary as I'm uploading this video. So my glossary is on my Substack, which is free. So if you're watching this on TikTok, just go to my bio, go to my Linktree. It's the top link. And then look in the comments for updated. You can't edit the Substacks once they go out. So I put updated names in the comments, and then I'll just put out another updated glossary list like in a few days or something. But okay, so we call her Righteous Star because she is intent on rising from this whole interaction. Someone's in her ear. Someone is letting her know this is it. This is for you. She always had ambition. She okay, part of what the disconnect is, this one's going to feel a little bit all over the map, but part of the disconnect we feel when we look at her, that was pre-recorded. The thing with the podium, that was pre-recorded. And why does that matter? Because it doesn't match the shock energy that would happen after something happened. And that's what we all feel. We feel that cognitive dissonance. Like something's not right. That doesn't look right. That doesn't feel right. Something's off. Yes, you're right. Something is off. So let's back up because I did talk about this when I talked about gums, which is what I call CK gums. That's actually from Velvy, Trek's daughter. She called him Gums, and I love that name. That's very fitting. So Gums also talked to me again. But I said some things back to him this time, a little bit more strongly worded. And we'll get into him in a minute. Let's talk about this. Remember how I talked about the thing that moved across his shirt and how his shirt puffed? Oh, by the way, I'm wearing my Ag and Art Film Festival shirt again, but this weekend is usually when my Ag and Art Film Festival, it's an annual international film festival in Northern California. I'm the founder and the director of it. So if you're a filmmaker, let me know. But this year I'm on hiatus. Last year I was on hiatus, but next year I think I'm going to be back. But okay, that's neither here nor there. Back to Gums. Remember how something seemed to move across his shirt and his shirt puffed up before impact? I've been saying that since the beginning, and everyone's like, no, I think it's just the trajectory of whatever. No, it's not. I could tell it was something going on inside of his shirt. It was something going on. All right, I finally nailed it. I got what it is, okay? This is what happened. According to me, find your own, you have to find your own truth. There's a lot of people that are going to say things. I'm just one other person talking about my screenplay, Death of Shadow Scripts and Rise of Sun Councils. That's my screenplay. I'm a screenwriter. I'm a filmmaker. So, I'm creative. But you need to come up with your own stories, right? So Gums had agreed to stage an unreal attempt on his life. He was wearing a vest. And he had a device under his shirt that was triggered, I think, remotely. So he didn't trigger it. It wasn't his ring. It wasn't any of that. Well, it could be his ring because his ring did jump on that video. So who knows? But I believe it was somebody else was pressing a button. Or maybe he had a lever by his arm or his leg or something. I don't know. But there's a lot to explain here. So just ask me questions if I don't remember to go back and fill it in. I believe there was a agreed upon fake attempt that was going to garner sympathy, make him stronger, make him look, really, wow, you survived and you really stand behind your cause. And it was supposed to hit him in the chest. And that's why his shirt puffed up, because that was part of the squib and other, like maybe an air compressor situation. And it was supposed to puff up. It was supposed to look like it hit him in the chest, but he was going to fall down, maybe go to the hospital, but he was going to be okay because the vest saved his life. He wasn't going to it wasn't going to be gory. It wasn't going to be traumatic in that way. It was more like going to be loud. It was going to be scary. A lot of people filming it. And then he was going to come out the other side like this victor in this situation. And what happened was, if you remember when I said, right when I was on my live, when he was pew-pewed, and then we were all talking, and then someone came in and said, it's been confirmed that he's no longer alive. And we all felt this feeling. The first image I had of him was very frustrated, like hand on forehead, like just pacing back and forth and just like, oh, like he was tricked. He was pissed. He was frustrated. He kept saying like, they tricked me. Yeah, I just felt like trick me. And then I heard sacrificial lamb, right? So but that wasn't from him. That was probably from my guides or something. But so I think he agreed to this fake attempt. Blondie was in on it. She knew about it too, because she was like, oh yeah, more spotlight, more people feeling sorry for us, more people loving us and, helping us get through this, more people donating to our organization, more power, more cameras, more attention, all of that, right? That's why the kids were there, because it wasn't going to be a gory situation. It was going to be, that would actually help garner even more empathy and sympathy for the family. Like, oh my God, you're so amazing. And your children were there. And, you guys were you survived, She was strategically placed so she was going to be on camera. And although I never saw her on anything, but that's what I've been told, so that she would be visible. So it was the most impact. Well, somewhere along the line, and I really I dug down. It took a while to get to the names. It's not anybody we know. It's none of the people that we know. Although Grid Lord King, because I was like, the energy kept saying it's a group. It's like people, it was all agreed upon. But I was like, it couldn't have been. There has to be one person that came up with this idea to go, oh, let's take the fake thing and make it real. So it looks like someone close to Grid Lord King. And I'm going to call him the advisor. And that's all I really know about him. He's not a public figure, so you don't have to, you don't even have to look it up. It's just another character in this really cool, complex screenplay that I'm writing. So, okay, so basically only certain people knew that it was going to be switched from the fake thing to the real thing. And it was like, there's an inside security group and there's an outer ring security group. The outer ring security group did not know about that. I don't even know if they knew about the fake thing. I don't think so. The inner ones did. And maybe that's the whole arm movement stuff. And they did that knowing everybody would be looking to the roof. The guy on the roof is not Tyler. It's not. I mean, you see the pictures. I'm going to place them side by side right here. You tell me if you think that's the same guy. Those are the pictures from the stairwell. That's, mug shots of TR. Do those look like the same people? Head on, side. The guy in the stairwell is older. His ear is attached, meaning it doesn't hang down. It goes straight from the side of his face up to the ear, whereas Tyler's loops like hangs down. It's lobed more. So anyways, they're not the same guy. And so the guy on the roof was just meant to be like, everyone would think that's who did it. And then you'd look and you'd never find it because it's not a person that you're going to find. It's one of those kind of people that military, probably background, no one's ever going to find them. So they have to find someone though, right? They have to pin it on someone. So it was agreed upon ahead of time that TR would be the fall guy, but he thought he was going to be a hero. It was arranged with his father and he was going to be a hero. And he was like, yeah, okay, sure. All he had to do is be the one he's like probably the one that said he did it, but why wasn't he on the roof? He was too nervous. They couldn't trust that he would do all the things on cue that he needed to do. So they got someone else that they knew they could count on that would just do all the things. So the guy on the roof did not pull the pew-pew. This is another breaking thing I want to tell you. And I'm not the only one to say this, and I'm definitely not the first one to say this. And I felt this, and I kept saying it. I think he was shot from the side. I really do. I think it came from the side. And it was entered, like, if we're staring at him, well, I don't know if I'm doing this right. I don't know. I can't tell which way when you look at this back, but So I think that it went in from the side, and the exit wound was the side where all the red stuff came out. That's why his body went to the side. That's not a straight on impact. I don't know why I didn't. I felt it. That's why I always encourage you guys to listen to your intuition and what feels right and what feels off, because sometimes that's just the beginning. That's just like the little feelings you get, like something's off, something's off. And yeah, it was off, you know. That wasn't a front wound, you know. That was a left to right. Well, if you're looking at him, it's our left to right. But from him, it was from his right side over. And the guy with that black knapsack thing and the Bermuda shorts standing by the railing on the inside, so he's part of the inside crew, had his arm underneath. You guys saw that, right? And he had something in his... It doesn't make sense, because how could it be him? How could he aim from underneath there? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But that's suspicious. But I think it must have been someone further away. No one thought to look to the side. You know, there's other places, there's other buildings, there's other rooftops. And he wasn't... Gums was not expecting this, and that's why he felt so betrayed, obviously. But what had happened was, so the optics, or, you know, the little fake puff of air and stuff was supposed to... He wasn't supposed to actually be impacted by anything. It was supposed to make it look like he was impacted, which is why the air would blow up. And then there was a sound of it. So, you know, he was told, yeah, there's going to be like a sound of a pew pew shot. And then this puff's going to go off right at the perfect time. And then you're going to fall. We're going to la 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 la, right? Well, right when I can't remember what you call this, where you call like a whole staged performance thing. When this whole thing went and it did everything right, it did the puff, it did the whole thing. That wasn't it. Obviously. So there was only one sound, right? But actually the reaction from the crowd and everything, it kind of made it seem like there was only one, but it's hard to explain. I think that the military guy on the roof was probably, I don't even know if he ever did anything, because there's probably so much echo in there that you can't even tell where it comes from. But I think immediately when people started looking at their phones and the recordings, they saw those guys doing the hand signals, which they could say, oh no, I wasn't doing anything, I was just fixing my hat. They can say, no, nothing. But we all know that was weird choreographed looking, both of them, the one in white and the one in black. But that was part of the staging. That whole thing was part of the staging to make it look like the guy in the roof was the one who did it. The guy in the roof was just some guy. Tyler was a stand-in to take the fall. But the actual person may never be caught. Ever. Because it's, you know, it comes from that web of, you know, it's just not going to, you know. But it was... from his right side. So I need to go in deeper in what happened then. Because, I mean, I'm watching these videos afterwards and they're like trampling all over where there should be red stuff. There was no investigation. The whole way they handled it afterward made me actually start to question, is he even unalive? And I went down that rabbit hole for a while and I tried to figure it out. The only thing that makes me convinced that he is unalive, or that he is unalive, is that I did feel and see something. But normally when a spirit comes to me, I get an impression, like they're heavy set, they're tall, they're dark, or they're frail. I get little images of the person or impressions. I got none of that with him. None. I had nothing. All I knew is that there was a spirit here because the lights were flickering and I felt a presence, because I get chills and it's a certain feeling. And but I also felt one of my guides protecting me. And then I chose when I wanted to open my energy to receive a message from him. I didn't let him just buck in. He wanted to, because he's arrogant, but he's not so much now because it's fading. But when he first crossed, he was carrying a lot of his human traits in, and he's very much like, yeah, whatever, I was wronged, I don't care whether you like that or not. And so people have sent me messages like, some psychics wouldn't let him talk to them. Good. You have to set boundaries. I remember, when I was younger, I didn't even know what was going on. I would just say, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could set boundaries. And I was terrified. It was like when I was around 18 or 19. And I wish I would have had some spiritual person like guiding me back then, because no one in my life was really like that. But I wish they would have told me like, no, that means you're sensitive to it. You can work with that, put up boundaries. So I'm letting you know, let me be your big sister or your aunt or whatever. You can set boundaries. You can say, if you feel a spirit in you, around you, you could say, I'm not comfortable do not come near me. Do not come into my space. You're making me scared. I don't like it. Don't come near me. Or whatever, however you want to word that. You have every right to do that. And once I started doing that, I started feeling so much better about opening up to my spiritual gifts. Because if you know you're in the driver's seat, you don't have to worry, you know? And it's almost like a cosmic law that no spirit can really come into your world if you don't allow them to. And so you stand up and be strong. And that was hard for me when I was younger because I was like very like, oh, I don't want to make people upset. It's like, oh my God. So you go through enough things in life. That's one of the good things about aging is you go through enough things in life where you're like, I really don't care if I upset people because am I going to just suck it all up my whole life? No. So set the boundaries. So it's okay that he visited people and people didn't want him to give a message. That's totally, I get it. He's a horrible person. He made horrible choices in his life. And he has planted 1,000,000 seeds of hate into other people. And it's really sad. And what they're doing now with the way they're, oh, you know, and people say he's like MLK. They're admitting then, if he's their MLK, then MLK was about love. So he must be about, he's about hate, right? So then they're saying they're about hate because what MLK did was he was about, I mean, he wasn't just a pushover like YT people try to say he was. He was also about fighting, but nobody talks about that. They just say, oh no, that was Malcolm X. No, Martin Luther King actually did talk about, you know, he was like, he fought. He wasn't passive. But anyways, the point is that he was a man of love and his place came from a place of love. I have a dream, you know, that speech and so many others. So he was about love. And so this is their MLK about hate. That's bizarre. And I have another video. It's a while back. I should tag it in the description if you're on YouTube. I can't do it on TikTok, but that I talked about inverted people, inversion, like mirror inverted people. That's what I feel like is going on. I feel like what we call hate, they call love. And what we call love, they call hate. It's the most bizarre time in the history of humanity. We're in this like mirror image stalemate scenario. It's really disconcerting. It's like you can't get through to them. I don't understand how you can say somebody who said the things that he said, that's on video, he said it. It's not, no one's fighting about what he said. Everyone's like, yeah, I know he said that, but he was all about love. It's like those words are about hate though. How do you make that love? So that love, hate to them is love. I don't understand it. I don't know why. So if you're one of the people that thinks he's about love, please explain what you mean if you want to. And if you're, please don't be rude or I will delete your comment. I don't even put up with rudeness. Anybody who's rude gets the kick because I don't have time for that, okay? So let's get back to what I've uncovered about Blondie and about the whole thing. So, all right, so where are we at with this whole thing? So we're at Tyler Fall Guy. Guy on roof, just hired guy, you know. Real pewer will never be found from the side. Start investigating that. I know I need to go down a little bit more of that rabbit hole, but, you know, anyways, inner circle of security knew about fake thing. Maybe some of them knew about real thing. Because they didn't seem too alarmed when it happened, did they? And maybe after they started like going, wait a minute, that's real red. But then the whole thing about the thing where they're trampling all over it and there's no yellow tape up, it's very confused. I'm very confused. Like I try to go deep. I try to really sit with it and think about it. And it's very confusing. It really is. So if you feel confused, like you're sure of it one day and the next day you're like, I don't know. Or you listen to one psychic and you're like, yeah, that feels right. And then you go listen to the other one, you go, wait, that feels right. And they're saying different things or whatever. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Okay, so she knew about the fake. Did she know about the real? Did she know about the double crossing? I think she did. I think she knew about it, but, well, either she knew about it, let's go down both lanes. Either she knew about the double crossing right before it happened, which makes her really evil because she brought her children there, which is crazy. Or she didn't know about it, but immediately after was told what was going on, and that was contingent upon her rising. And so she was like, okay, I'm going to just snap into line and go with this. Because, you know, she was married to the power. She was married to the money, to the fame, to that kind of thing. She wasn't married to the person, if you know what I mean. So TR's father, what I got was possible, you know, agreed to the fake thing. But by the time they realized it was real, everything happened so fast. And he was just thrown, TR was thrown into it. And he's kind of like in shock. We'll find out what happens with that. His mother is kind of in shock too. Like, I think that what I get is the father, like, I don't really, the energy of the father is really off. And some of you guys agreed with that too, that it was like really, something was off there. I don't know. I can't get a full read on it, but there's something there. There's something deception wise. Like, was he even really a police in the police, local police there? Because someone, who was it? Lori? I can't remember who sent it to me. I'm so sorry. Let me know. Somebody sent me the record, like that he's never, or they put out a press release, right? That he was never a police officer there. And we're like, oh, we thought he was retired. No. So like, what are we getting right now? There's a lot of, weird information. And I'm sure that he probably got or is getting the reward maybe. Maybe they're still waiting for that. Maybe they got ghosted on that. I don't know. I'm kind of worried about that. And I heard that I went out earlier to get dinner with my mom. I'm in Arizona, and everyone's just wild tonight. The energy feels very chaotic. I grew up here. I lived in California most of my adult life, but I'm back here right now with helping my mom. And the energy feels like a very wild and crazy Saturday night. And I was like, what is going on? And someone said that they're having like all these like mini celebrations or something of life for him. And I'm like, what? But I also heard that Citrus is supposedly coming here on the 21st, the day of the solar eclipse, the day his body is supposed to be like let go completely. And I know we all have different beliefs about that, and that's totally fine. I firmly still stand behind Citrus is not vertical. Citrus is horizontal. Citrus is incapacitated. I don't know whether he's conscious or not, if he regained consciousness. I don't know. But he's not able to walk around. And the guy we're seeing is a double or multiple doubles with a mask. And I know it sounds crazy. I know. I was talking to my mom about it. I go, well, then I guess the double is going to come to the funeral. And my mom's just like, I mean, she knows I have abilities, but because she's seen it work. I'm accurate AF about a lot of stuff with her, with us, with life. But, doubles are hard for people to swallow. I told you guys it's hard for me to swallow. I'm like, I know it sounds crazy, but it's real. It's real. They do this, you guys. They do this. I mean, all of a sudden he looks so healthy when he looks so run down. And also, to me, Citrus is like, he's always all over the map when he's talking, right? Like he's always kind of like creating his own script. And this one feels very scripted. Everything feels very kind of buttoned up. That's how you know also it's not the real him, because he's not like that. Plus the fact that he had the face droop, and I talked about this last video, but people keep asking me, that face droop, it's perfect for them because they need to start making him look like he's not that healthy or that he's had some health incidences or something, because they can't have him looking this healthy and then all of a sudden go, oh yeah, well, whatever, he wasn't really that healthy. Which is it? Is he healthy or not healthy? Because this guy looks pretty healthy right now. So at the 9/11 thing, he looked like his face was drooping and he was, I don't know. It just looked very, very staged. And that porcelain doll, that was a double as well. So both Citrus and porcelain doll with doubles. I'm going to put the double or the porcelain doll side by side here because nobody believes me, and I need to show you. Look at the difference of how snatched porcelain doll's face is. Her cheekbones are very taut. They're very high up. Her eyes are actually slanted up. She's had, eye lift. And there's nothing that comes down on her face, like nothing. Whereas the double has more of like a little bit of just a natural aging looking face, and her nose is a little bit more jaggedy. So do with that what you will, but that's that. Anyways, so that's where we're at. I'm trying to remember if that's everything. Porcelain doll. No, forget porcelain doll. We're talking about Blondie. So Blondie is fully positioning herself right now, but the stuff that you've seen that she has released, other than the by the casket stuff, but even maybe by the casket now that I think about it, I have to watch the whole thing. I've only seen the part where she's holding his rubber hand, because that is not a hand. I have held deceased people's hands, and that is not what they look like. Even embalmed, even yellowish, even, there's nothing. It's, I don't know. That's my own thought on that immediately. But all of that feels very staged and pre-recorded to me. I don't know what it feels like to you. Tell me in the comments. It just, everything in my body goes, that's not current. That's not real. That's not whatever. Like, that's staged. She's a horrible actress. And I think they're probably realizing it now, like, oh my God, we picked like the absolute worst. She is so bad that it actually draws attention. And people are like, she's in shock. No, that's not, you don't, when you're in shock, you don't put all that makeup on and go and stand in front of cameras and do all, you don't do that. I have experienced traumatic loss, lots of it, that almost made me unalive myself, that made me feel just dead and dark for years. I was traumatized. It was traumatic deaths that I dealt with that were violent. And you are wrecked. I literally couldn't talk. I couldn't be around people. I couldn't do anything. I mean, even at the funeral of my friend, I collapsed in front of the casket. It was open casket. I collapsed on the ground. I couldn't even, I've never like, I wish I could have collapsed when I was younger because I had so many things going on and I felt like I was too strong. I was like, nobody ever thought I had any problems. But I literally, as I was walking, my entire body just gave out. And I'm not saying she should act exactly like me, but if you really witness your husband, the mother or the father of your children, have that experience happen, you would not show up on all camera and, podium and like, with dabbing the non-existent tears. It just doesn't happen. That's not what happens. There'd be something. We're human beings. We're social creatures. We feel each other's authenticity because it's part of our survival. If we feel like someone isn't authentic, that puts our life at risk. From infants on, we have to be able to sense whether something is authentic or not. And if it doesn't feel authentic, it's important for us to pay attention to that for survival. So this isn't even woo-woo. This is literal just survival skills. Everything in me says that's not whatever. But now it might be. If she wasn't in on the switcheroo from the fake thing to the real thing, she might actually be in shock. She might actually be scared. She might actually feel like she has to go along with this. She might actually be mourning the father to the children and worrying about her children and being sad about that. But what I get from her is kind of empty and kind of like she wants, and I might be wrong. I haven't dug too deep. I don't know her. I'm just going off of energy. I feel like she very much wants the spotlight. She very much wants, just even look at the pre-recorded speech. I mean, just to even say something like that or to even know that you're going to be part of that. It was very like, let's get vindication. I don't know. She was very much positioning herself. That's why she's at the podium. She wasn't sitting in an armchair. I mean, I am a filmmaker. I am a professional editor. I edit thousands of hours of videos. Even for my film festival, I make trailers and, I watch movies from all over the world and we, pick the ones that end up in pick the ones that end up in the festival every year. But so I'm telling you, she could have filmed that in a million different ways. I mean, she could have been standing outside by a fence or at sunset, sitting in a chair on a porch. She could have been on her favorite chair in the living room. She could have been anywhere. So the fact that she's in his office, his podcast studio office, says, okay, he's the big, huge thing that you guys all love, but now I'm the new leader. There's a new sheriff in town, and she wears lipstick, and she is blonde. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the energy of that video. Like, even though she was pretending because they were going to do the fake thing, I think she was already positioning herself regardless, whether she knew or she didn't know. So you let me know, do you think she knew about the double cross or didn't know? What does your spirit tell you? What's the feeling inside of you? And then what do you guys think about the sideways pew-pew, not the front? The front doesn't make sense because it would have gone right here or clipped him right here. It went in here and out here. You can't do this from out there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how does a person way straight ahead of him do the side to side? Just think about it. I'll see you in the next video.